This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Woo! You now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boy, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the rest of the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the biz. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey, One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. Thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
What's good? It's Wale, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Welcome to the October 26th edition of One Nation Radio. James, what's going on, man?
Not too much. It seems like we have ourselves a big time angle. So whenever WWE does that, it tends to kind of reinvigorate the senses. So I'm kind of into it this week.
A big time angle. We're not talking about Kurt.
I mean, we'll get to that, but like, look, not everything made sense, but it was fun. All the stuff that happened this week.
Yeah, man.
Most of the stuff that happened.
Yeah, man. We had a TLC last Sunday. We also had it went down on Raw. Gang fights and people getting jumped. Yeah. Fair ones being shot in the back. Jason Jordan running up on Chad or Chad Gable running up on Jason Jordan like, I owe you this. Oh, how dare you break up this tag team? There were plenty of little moments.
Like, you derailed my career, you selfish motherfucker. Straight up on that, man. Oh, especially, okay, so the one fair one I truly enjoyed was, like, the women. Like, yes. The dudes walk up and they're like, oh, like, it was almost like some grade school stuff where, like, oh, I see a fight, it's going down, so you just make noise. Yep. It was great.
Yep. A couple other things going on. I guess we can just start with TLC now. James, what are your overall thoughts on the show?
I thought that it was really, I mean, aside from, every single every single Enzo match we're going to get, those are going to be the drizzling shits, but pretty much the card lived up to expectations, or not lived up to expectations, but exceeded expectations because the expectations were so low. We got solid matches out of all the women matches. We got a great exhibition match that was AJ and Finn, and we had a memorable main event. That's for sure. Like it was all the sports entertainment that to Vince's content, his heart's content. But it was a success in my opinion. So I give the show a thumbs up.
As I mentioned on Chad Matthews' podcast, what up, Chad? And we're going to talk a little bit about that later. I just want to say rest in peace to Braun Strowman. Thoughts and prayers out to his family. He was killed during the main event in a compactor. Don't know when we'll see him again. Somehow they're still. I was kind of offended that they didn't open up Raw with a graphic and them ringing the bell 10 times. They just want to go ahead and murder somebody. Live on the pay-per-view, that's the least you could do for the man. The man gave his life for this damn company, for y'all trying to have y'all best all-time quarter ever. Y'all had it on that man's back. How dare y'all? Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Oh, man.
But,
it was, like I said, like you kill somebody off and then you tell them, you do something that would intimate like somebody would be murdered, and then like you show up the next day and say that he'll be off TV for a couple of weeks. It's like, oh, you fucking idiots! Like, what's wrong with y'all? Another one that I thought was really good was at the pay-per-view. They mentioned that Bray Wyatt, the supernatural being, the person that shape-shift and teleport, was sick with a viral infection. I was like, you fucking guys, you just like.
I wouldn't even say nothing.
We all know he's a human being, but like he doesn't play a human being, so like, just say he's he won't be there for whatever reason. Like, you don't really have to give a reason. Like, you just say he's not going to be on the show. The subject or the card is subject to change. You don't have to say that, like, you know, your supernatural gimmick guy came down with the sniffles. I'm not even trivializing the sniffles, but like just say like, oh yeah, that guy's sick. Like, well, shit, tell him the abracadabra or presto kazam out of that shit, and then come to the pay-per-view.
Like, I've seen the Green Mile. I know you can get rid of sickness if you into the hokey pokey spooky shit. You know, you can just blow the blue flies out of your body and heal yourself. But I thought it was a.
Hold on, before you get to that. Like, you know how, like, all the tropes there are for black people in movies, like, and one of the tropes is actually like, the magical
healer
Negro.
man.
And Michael Clark Duncan was a literal magical Negro in the Green Mile.
Oh man, Blackest Wrestling Podcast going. Yeah, I thought it was a fun show. It was WWE clearly in a situation where they had doo-doo set up initially. You know, had that card not changed, and then they got thrown, you know, some curveballs, and they made the most of, you know, what looked to be a dire situation. Like, bringing in AJ Styles, I can't credit them enough, you know, and I said this on Chad's show. Like, it's, you know, it's telling that they called Styles. You know, they didn't call Brock Lesnar. They didn't call Jinder Mahal. They didn't call Randy Orton. They didn't call Nakamura. They didn't call Kevin Owens. They called AJ Styles to bring his ass up from Chile to fly 18 hours and just roll out there and deliver what I thought was a 4-star match. So shouts out to those guys. And besides that, you know, we had Asuka debuting. James, what did you make of that of Asuka debuting? Is she ruined?
So I have enthusiasm for a lot of what happened over the past this earlier this week, and but I also had a lot of issues with some of the booking decisions based off of, like, my God, why will you do this with this person? Why would you even put this person in a match with that person at this point in time? It makes no sense. And number one for me is Asuka on Sunday and on Monday. Like, for me, they don't learn. Like I've said to you on the podcast a bunch of times that this company does not learn lessons, or they learn lessons the hard way, or they're slow to learn. And them and what they did with Nakamura and Ziggler, where Ziggler shows up and Ziggler is a you know, more or less a geek, and you're portraying this up and coming person with vignettes or talking them up like they're such a big deal, and you know they are a big deal based off of what they did in NXT, but you know, this is it's a lot smaller of an audience compared to the general audience in WWE. So you need to impress people to shine them up, to show them that like the substance matches the hype. So in the same fashion that they messed up with Nakamura to start off with, and they did the same thing with Asuka, where Asuka's fighting a geek and she has a way too competitive match where. You know, if you're going to do that, then maybe you should look at what they did with Nakamura when he first showed up in NXT, where, all right, people may or may not know who Nakamura is, even though who the hell watches NXT that doesn't know who Nakamura was at the time. But you put him in there with with the biggest star of that brand's history at that point in time, Sami Zayn. You go out there and you put on a classic, and you have that kind of match to get him over as he's a star. Either that, or you need to go in there and you need to kill somebody. They didn't either. I thought it was weird. Very weird.
And, you know, I called this. I felt like this would happen. And I believe I used the same parallel you just did, like with Dolph Ziggler and Nakamura. Yep. And it's just amazing that what can be so special in NXT can, like, just get roughed up with Michael Cole commentary and WWE booking. You know, those are the lethal combinations. Like those two things will bury you. You know, if you can't rise above them. And you know, it's been 2 matches, so I don't want to go too crazy on that. Survivor Series is still coming, but if you look at how you would like to introduce Asuka, a month of build-up, people swore it was amazing. You know, everything was happening, and they even put it in the same spot. It was the opening match. Like it was the same spot as a Nakamura match. So it's like, who thinks this is a good idea? Come on, Vince. I know you listen to the show.
Right, yeah. And another thing about it is, this ain't just like her and Nakamura that they've done this to with people that had, people that, they're trying to make a big impression on over immediately. Like, they did the same thing with Bobby Roode and Ziggler, where, like, well, not at first with Bobby Roode. Like, they brought him up, and he came in and he killed guys, but the problem is after that is they took him off TV so that Ziggler can come up with a character and a gimmick to immediately go in a feud with Bobby Roode immediately after. And then they had their pay-per-view match, and that's what happened. Like, there's a weird thing with WWE going on right now, where the main roster anyway, where like they're really good at presentation. Video packages, making things feel important, making you feel like the historical weight of things. Like, for example, the women's first Money in the Bank. But like the execution or the execution after that, like it just, it's very finicky. It can follow through and we'll have good moments, and in other moments, not so much. And other ones that leave you scratching your head.
Yeah. So yeah, TLC, and the main event was like it was a ridiculous car crash. There was a lot of stuff where I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. This is stupid. And then there was other parts where it was like, holy shit, this is crazy. I definitely enjoyed seeing Kurt Angle come out there and pop up behind Rollins and Ambrose with the biggest smile on his face. Just happy to be there. Braun Strowman is apparently a babyface if he's alive. Yeah, what'd you have, James?
Okay, so do you remember the matchup, like the graphic side by side matchup of Shawn versus Austin at WrestleMania 14? Well, like Austin, it looks like Austin with a skull on, looking mean, and then Pretty Boy Shawn Michaels has to look tough when he has like the little strand of bang like linking over his face.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, seeing the Shield come out there with those two together, Ambrose and Rollins in the tactical gear or whatever, the riot gear or whatever you want to call it, and they got the faces on or whatever, and then all of a sudden like you see Happy Dad Kurt just like walk in there smiling like, "Hi guys!" Like,
is it time to fight now?
Like, yes, like it was. It was great. It's one of the better memeable moments of the year.
Yeah.
But like, as far as the Strowman thing is, him and Kane have to be outside of SummerSlam, or Survivor Series. They have to have a match, don't they?
Yeah, they've got to have a match. They could put it at Survivor Series, but you never know how they want to do these things.
Well, I was thinking because like Brock Lesnar matches don't go long, right?
Yeah.
Out of all the championship matches, like the only match you expect to go like for real time, like over 18 minutes would be the tag match.
This is such poor planning by WWE to have all those champions be bad wrestlers, heels, or both.
I'm not even concerned about like the bad wrestler thing. Like if you can get if you have, who would be like the face equivalent of a Baron Corbin in ring?
Titus O'Neil.
Okay, if you built a storyline around it, I think you get a good storyline or a credible storyline match with all of the cheating and smoke and mirrors that comes with a Miz match with all the cheating in the Miz Garage. But, when you have Natalya versus Alexa, heel versus heel, and just what you're talking about with Corbin and Miz, heel versus heel, and, you could... Brock's not necessarily a heel, he's just Brock, but you can also say Brock versus Jinder, in certain instances is heel versus heel as well. It's a really weird card, and I don't know how this is gonna work. I think there might be some title changes, at least like for the short term, like or at least like where they got to flip something up. I don't know how they're gonna do that with 3 matches with like this guy's like, oh yeah, we whatever.
Yeah, I think they need to do that as well. And that kind of leads into what we were going to talk about next, like with the whole Raw invasion where they were jumping out, on
the what?
The Raw invasion.
There you go. That's the one.
The supposed Kendrick Perkins voice, invasion.
Yes. Invasion.
Yeah, so Shane McMahon showed up on Monday Night Raw looking all happy and jovial. Somehow he hugged a man that once belly to belly suplexed him through glass. I wouldn't have done that, but he showed up with all his, lower tier goons. Actually, no, he showed up with all his goons, pretty much except Randy Orton and, Owens and Zayn. I can't think of anyone else I didn't see. But the funny part of the whole thing was, you saw a couple guys to start, and then every attack you would see a couple more guys. It's like, hold on, what is Nakamura doing here? I didn't see him before, and he has the blue shirt on, and it's just this looks so funny. Like they're walking through the backstage like a gang, just rolling up on people. Talking about, oh, you want to run it? What up, Oos? Ain't seen you in years. Look, ain't seen you in years. What's up, Titus? What's up, Apollo? Run it.
Yeah, slap some skin and whoop their black asses.
Yes. And the women, they went out there and fought on the head up and just beat them down in 10 seconds. Yeah. What do we need to see a match for? Y'all got beat up. Bad.
I'm just,
AJ Styles with the blue on. Jumping on folks.
Wearing red trunks. It was so funny. Yeah. He shows up in the red because, he's on Raw or whatever for the first time in, since the brand split. And then, later in the show, nah, bro, blue shirt. Double agent.
Turn.
Call me 007.
Yes. And they're doing their whole thing under siege and trying to make it a hashtag and all that. WWE and they owe Brandon. But yeah, so they didn't come with the immediate attack after on SmackDown. I think it was good that they did that. Let it breathe a little bit, but I thought it was an okay angle to do.
Yeah, I mean another reason why they didn't do it immediately after is because look at the roster. There's no Orton. I'm sorry, not no Orton. There's no Reigns. There's no Bray. There's no Braun. If you're gonna do an invasion, you don't should actually no Brock as well because Brock ain't showing up for that shit. So, it would be really weird if they actually did do that with they show up with geeks. Yeah. Just they show up with the I guess for lack of a better word the job squad. It'd be yeah, we're gonna come out here and beat you with we're gonna come out here and we're gonna beat y'all up. We're gonna beat you up, Nakamura, and we're gonna beat you up with the Drifter.
They do it.
I got more faith in them than you do, I guess. But it just wouldn't have seemed right. I will say, what do you think is going to happen as far as entrance into both matches, both women's and men's Survivor Series matches?
Who do I think is going to fill out the rosters?
Yeah.
Now that I guess Sami Zayn's not on a roster, apparently that I don't know why you do that, but or Nakamura or Owens won't be there. I think they're gonna go ahead and have Nakamura win that match. But if I had to pick SmackDown's squad excluding Zayn and Owens, I'd probably go with Orton, who's there, Nakamura. I think you got to look at it's another single. On that side,
got to be AJ.
Yeah.
Well, and then so next week, if I remember correctly, I think that they're doing Ziggler versus
Rude.
Who
they'll probably do Ziggler.
They're teaming together for the ass whooping. And I think they're having a match next week, and whoever wins that is going to be inserted into the Survivor Series male match.
I think they're going to let Ziggler win so he can come out there and get pinned at Survivor Series. So what's that, up to 4?
Yeah, that's 4.
All right, I guess I need one more. So I've got the roster pulled up here. I think you could make a case for Handsome Rusev.
That wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I can see that.
So on the Raw side, I'm going to go with old Roman Reigns.
Of course.
I think you're going to see Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
AKA the Sick Boys. Finn Balor. Jason Jordan.
Okay.
And a returning Samoa Joe, hopefully.
Okay. I was thinking Joe Reigns, Balor, Jordan, and I couldn't think of a fifth at the time. Because I was like, you're really going to have Bray, you're just going to squash the Bray and Finn thing and just have them on the tag team together, or because I figure that you leave Bray off and then be conspicuous by his absence, the fact that he's going to come in the middle of the match and fuck Balor again, and then they have another match at the end of the year. Because that's how all Bray Wyatt matches feuds work. Is he like doesn't like he's out of sight, out of mind, and then comes and fucks you over during a big spot of the year.
Yep, and then also. They don't underestimate them trying to slip the Drifter into this match. Do not underestimate it.
Well, I don't know. Like, you got to pick one or the other. You can't put both of them in that match. You can't put Jordan and Drifter in the match.
Does Vince McMahon think that's like a WrestleMania main event one day?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking like, this is like the New Age Bizarro. This is like the New Age Bizarro Rock versus Triple H.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Wow.
Like it's like we got this body guy, and we got this other body guy. One's light skinned, the other one's white, and with long hair. We are going to make sure that those guys become the next guys, and we're just gonna put them together for now. We'll see what happens. Now, granted, like I said, Bizarro, because neither one of them dudes like Jason Jordan is like the opposite of Rock in that like. The Rock in '98 was like super green as a wrestler still, but like he had all the charisma. He had all the charisma building to it building in '98, and like Jason Jordan like has all the work, has all the wrestling part down, but like has the charisma of a wet sandwich.
Damn.
So like that's.
See, I was thinking more Rock Triple H. I was thinking more Rock Triple H '97, like when Rock was the Intercontinental Champion the first time, like Rocky Maivia versus versus the Blue Blood, Triple H. So
that's a good one.
So yeah, that's an interesting parallel. Another
look,
go ahead.
Say this right now. Them two aren't going to be the titans of the industry in 2 years. I can tell you that right now with Jason Jordan. That shit ain't happening. Not a fucking chance.
Bro. Speaking of titans of the industry, Kane is apparently back. Dominating and destroying fools. Single-handedly destroyed AJ Styles and The Shield. You didn't see Kane get beat up on Monday at all. And then, inexplicably... I might add, Kane went ahead and defeated Finn Balor clean as a sheet, 1, 2, 3, in what was essentially described to me as a squash, because I didn't see the match.
Yeah, bro, that like the match was pretty much just like a heel squash match, except it was Finn Balor in it, and it went a little bit longer than the average squash match would go. Like I wouldn't call that it wasn't anyone's version of a competitive match. Like if you were to say, I would say it's probably like a 75-25 match.
Hey man,
but the ending, the ending was what made it like so just like, oh my god, he killed this dude like a doorknob, like dead as a doorknob. Like he chokeslam, like he's about to go up for the coup d'etat. Kane sits up, and before apparently Kane sit up and is able to stand up and grab somebody by the neck before Finn can dab out and get down off a turnbuckle. But whatever, he sits up. Grabs him by the neck, instead of giving him a super choke slam off the top rope, he brings him down, choke slams him 3 times in a row, and then pins him. I was like, my God.
So now I'm going to go through the roster to find literally anyone else that could have taken that ass whooping. If you want to establish Kane as a monster and a killer and all these, you could have sent.
I got one for you, Matt Hardy.
Yeah, you could have sent Matt Hardy out there. You could have sent Apollo Crews out there. You could have sent
Titus.
You could have sent Titus out there. You can send Goldust out there. You can send Rhino out there or Heath Slater out there.
Shit, I forgot they're on the roster.
Yes. they got their ass whooped backstage, so maybe their night was already spoken for. But you could have sent any of those dudes out there, and especially if you're putting Finn Balor over AJ Styles the previous night, it's like who I don't know. Oh, we didn't talk about AJ Styles and Finn Balor throwing up the Too Sweet, and everybody losing their minds.
Yeah, man. Like that was the best match. That was the best singles match since what this year in WWE.
I'll have to look. I'd probably say since Balor's match last month.
That match was good. But this match was great. Like
Might have watched it again.
I would. Yeah, like that match was way better than that Bray Wyatt and Finn match. Like I'm not like by way better. I mean like it's like a half star better. So like that's where I'm at on that. What was I going to say to you?
They throw up the Too Sweet, and people lost their mind, and apparently it's cool again to throw up the Too Sweet.
I mean, it's always cool to throw up the Too Sweet. It's just are they making money with you throwing it up or not? Are you making money on the inside or outside of that wall? So that's how they get down with it. Intellectual property. Okay, sure.
Yeah, man. Speaking of making money, Brock Lesnar, with his huge contract, was in the ring with Paul Heyman, and they absolutely dipped Jinder Mahal in the chicken grease and fried him in the middle of the ring for the world to see. Paul Heyman came out there and called him the make-believe Maharaja. He called him a guy that was ducking he barely escapes all his title matches, and he's trying to avoid another one. They called him, the Singh Brothers frauds for essentially stealing his gimmick. James, what did you make of this segment? Because, they killed it. They basically held the mirror up on Jinder Mahal and put him on the SummerSlam screen last night or Monday night.
Yeah, so I did not watch last week's episode of SmackDown Live, but I heard about the gist of him calling out Brock, and the crowd gave out audible gasps. They're like, "Really, dude? You're a fucking geek of a champion, and you're fighting against this dude that's so big he doesn't even show up for TVs or regular pay-per-views. He is the ultimate main eventer, right? He's the super main eventer. So I thought it was interesting that they didn't have Heyman give him some type of rub of, you're accomplished, you're this long reigning champion. He flat out said, you're a joke, which, depending on how you feel about gender, either you think that's the absolute truth, or you think there's some, or at the very least you think there might be something to that. So I thought that it made me feel very knowing how WWE gets down. It made me feel very, very cautious that they might swerve us and Jinder fucking wins.
If Jinder Mahal defeats Brock Lesnar, prepare to hear, you remember in 8 Mile when before I want to say B-Rap was rapping. And Future, he would look at him and say, "Let this motherfucker feel it." That's pretty much what I'll be doing on One Nation Radio the next day or that evening or whenever I feel like recording it, because bro, they're such trolls if they do this. like there's no way around this.
I'm here to let you know right now. On that podcast, where you're gonna let them motherfuckers feel it, as you say, you'll be having to do that with another co-host because I will be done until Royal Rumble. That is pure bullshit. Like that is pure uncut Colombian bullshit. Like I can't. Like I just can't. Like that. Like you mean to tell me that you fuckers have spent the entire year where he beats Goldberg with one F5. He beats Samoa Joe with one F5. He beats Braun Strowman one F5, and then he's going to lose to Jinder Mahal. And the whole reason why you had this dude beat all these Goliaths, all these Leviathans, is because you are building him up super strong so that you can have old Golden Boy get that win and finally get himself over to the level of his push for the first time in the 4 years you've been doing this, which is like whatever. That's your plan, cool. But you're gonna have him like be on his back or get counted out or DQ to Jinder. Like, nah, bro, that makes no fucking sense. That's moronic.
I would like encourage WWE to have AJ Styles get involved and make sure, like, if you're gonna go ahead and beat Jinder, I don't like. If it's up to me, I'd go ahead and squash him. I don't care. But if you can do this, you make AJ Styles play into the finish where he gives Jinder Mahal a taste of his own medicine already, and you build that matchup, for whenever you want to do it. Like, he's distracted. Some reason he doesn't look at Brock Lesnar, and he gets destroyed and mauled, and then AJ Styles, like, pretty much you go off the air with AJ Styles and Brock walking past each other, and then AJ Styles picks up the world title and holds it up, and then you go off the air with that. Like, that would be the way I do it.
You want to know the way how I do it?
How?
I wouldn't butt that fucking match. But whatever.
I agree. I agree. Because I don't know a soul that wants to see this. Like if you are excited, about watching Brock Lesnar and Jinder Mahal wrestle with each other and tussle and put a match together, enlighten me. Because I don't know how Brock's going to end up on the mat for that long for Jinder Mahal to slap him in every rest hold that he does in the match. I don't know how Jinder Mahal is going to keep getting up from these suplexes without the Singh brothers running in and all this stuff. It's going to be just all the smoke, all the mirrors, and Lesnar like, I can't believe you have me doing this.
Yeah, and another part about it is like, there are going to be so many matches that I could not give a flying fuck about on this card. Like, Hill versus Hill, Miz versus Corbin, nobody cares. Like, there is a bit of intrigue of the only intrigue to the Jinder Brock thing is like, are they going to be stupid enough to actually like have Jinder like look good against Brock or showcase anything against Brock? Like, that's the real intrigue. And then, like, Natty versus Alexa, nah. Like, just, nah. Like, so 3 title matches, 3 champion versus champion matches, and I'm just like, dude, you know how much better you could have done than this?
Yeah.
It's a really weird card. And, like, hopefully, for me, I'm already looking at it as, all right, we have we have Shield versus Usos, and we have the Survivor Series matches. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to in this. Like, we're actually like really depending on a Survivor Series match to make Survivor Series really work. And we've 2 of the last 3 years we've had really great Survivor Series matches. So we've had at least one in both of them. So like, hopefully that tradition continues, because like if you actually work to intertwine the storylines and dissension amongst the teams and show the interaction of like the storytelling and make it all weave together, then like you have something really there every year. But if you don't treat it important, it won't feel important
or prepare for it.
I mean, yeah.
There's rumors about there being a special ref going to ref this match, and names tossed around are John Cena, Austin, Rock. And to me, that just speaks to the testament of having to put a special referee in there with Lesnar to make it kind of be interesting, because you got this other dude in the ring with them that badly needs the assistance, on the marquee. But yeah, so I don't know if they're going to do a special ref gimmick. I'm tired of special ref matches. I think they should pretty much be abolished at this point, unless there's a really good reason for one, like something like the end of an era match with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. It's like, yeah, his best friend versus this dude that he fought and has respect for now. There you go. If you want to do something, what are some other good special referee matches? Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton, or what Shawn Michaels, pretty much Shawn Michaels special referee match, because he ends up in some type of personal conflicting feud with someone. Like the Daniel Bryan Randy Orton one was a good one. He trained him, and then Orton and Michaels have a pretentious relationship over the years, and the whole authority tie-in with Triple H being Shawn's boy. Like, there's something there. This one is just, hey, we don't believe in this main event like we say we do.
Yeah,
he ain't who we say he is. Yeah, man.
I mean, I have nothing to follow that up, but that's just it's just a clear ploy, because they know, dude, no one's actually going to buy that as a real legitimate main event. So let's throw somebody else in there and see if people are just start speculating on what could possibly happen now that this person can play to screw whoever else. That's all it is. At least they learned their lesson from doing. If they have a special guest referee, at least they're doing something that will show that they learned their lessons from that 2011 Survivor Series when they had Rock and Cena versus the Awesome Truth. Anybody was actually going to buy that to see if John Cena and the fucking Rock could prevail against the Miz and R-Truth.
Yeah, man, R-Truth should have went over.
Over where? Over back to the house?
Over the Rock. You have a super duper star right now. But this man James hung up on me. So yeah. What is today? Today is October 26th, and it is a special day in wrestling history, at least. It is the 39th birthday of CM Punk. As I try to get James back on the line. And here he goes. Yeah, I'm back, James. Apparently, I guess we got disconnected somehow.
I hung up. I let you know that the foolishness will not be tolerated in this establishment. Okay.
Oh, I swear, I thought we had some connection issues. It's all good.
No.
We can resume back to what we was talking about. Yeah, so CM Punk turned 39 years old today, rapidly headed towards 40. CM Punk been gone from WWE for it'll be 4 years next month, or excuse me, in January. CM Punk died for our sins. Essentially for Daniel Bryan in WrestleMania 30. Famously walked out of the company when he decided he was sick of this shit, and he also saw the what was that thing Martin Luther King used to say? He's seen around the corner, he's seen over the horizon.
Oh my god!
So
I don't even think that's actually something. I think when I say that stuff about the Martin Luther King, that's for Martin Luther King from that Boondocks episode when he was talking about
correct. That's what I meant too.
Yeah, that ain't actually. I don't think that's actually Martin Luther King's words. That's just somebody else that was.
Okay, if y'all have never seen. Another Two Americas moment. If y'all have never seen the Martin Luther King episode on Boondocks, please do. And back to the listless CM Punk.
Actually, maybe don't. That is how do you say? That is one of the things about Boondocks is. That show's all about respectability politics, and it's funny, if you're not somebody that has to, have to convince people every single day that, the inequities between like black people and white people aren't like based on like pathology. So like it could be problematic showing a white person Boondocks because they might take it as like, oh yeah, you know, their culture is actually all fucked up. It's like, nah, bro. You might want to look at like your historical differences of what's affected these outcomes of via social engineering. Not like there's not no thing about like a black person being born a fuck up. Like chill on that. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know if you should be encouraging people to watch Boondocks. I would say if you're gonna watch it, have your mind right on what's really the damaging in effects.
I like to think if folks have been listening to this show, they know what it is already. So like, you know, our audience might be prepared for Boondocks.
Look, I'm sure. I would ever say like that is, while that is true, there are a bunch of people that do subscribe to that Chris Rock.
True.
There are black people that are N-words, so you can't always just take stuff for given.
Yeah, but CM Punk back to the former best in the world. He celebrated his 39th birthday today. So first off, happy birthday to him. Wishing him much happiness in his post wrestling life. Do you think we ever see this guy like come back and get in the Hall of Fame or anything like that? And how long do you think that could be until?
I mean, I think, you know, the old saying goes, all wounds heal, Jesus. But yeah, I think eventually there'll be some type of
resolution.
You know, some type of like make good or make up type thing where, you know, at least for, you know, the fans, whatever, and also for that good check, as Roy Wood Jr. likes to call it. So. I think eventually there'll be that. Like, I think he'll, you know, have an in-ring career again. I'm less convinced of that than the actual, like, they'll make good eventually. Like, I think, you know, he'll stay away because he's a stubborn motherfucker, and then eventually, over time, he'll come around after his wrestling days or after his, like, time to actually being in a ring and actually do that stuff are over. Like, he'll be an old-timer type thing, and it'll be, like, more of a, you know, for the fans of that era type thing.
Who do you think is more likely to wrestle in WWE again, CM Punk or Daniel Bryan?
Bryan.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, Punk, at
least there's, like, a bridge of communication. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. I was going to say, you know, famously, like, you know, I've gone on record many times saying I started watching back in 2011 when Rock came back to start promoting WrestleMania 27. And, you know, I fell off a little bit right after WrestleMania, but what hooked me back in was, you know, the rise of CM Punk, dropping the pipe bomb, and I'll never forget that. Essentially, you know, it kind of like got me all the way back into it. So, damn you, CM Punk. But at the same time, but yeah, it has led to you know, watching a lot of wrestling that has held up, you know, to anything I saw when I was a kid. As far as, you know, in the ring wise, at least, you know, storylines are always a little different. You know, there's no like Austin running around, but we got our own form of that with Daniel Bryan and all that. But Punk definitely made his impact on the game and everything like that. And then this is kind of giving away. I want to come back to this, you know, to close the show today. But first, I want to talk about Nia Jax because she ended up in a situation where she walked out of the WWE supposedly over not wanting to do the job to Sasha Banks on TLC, and also kind of like general unrest with her character and you know, how she's been used. James, what did you make of this story when it came out, and what do you see? And also Nia Jax threw down the big joker. So what did you think about that whole thing?
I thought to myself, my God, like, y'all don't give a shit about Sasha Banks, so why in the hell are y'all protecting her? Especially after what you did to her this summer. Like, she's a geek. And you have stopped and started with Nia so much, and she is eventually you're eventually going to do the Nia versus Alexa thing at some point. Seeing that you teased it already, or actually shot the angle and then you like backed out of it again. So like, why in the hell can't she beat Sasha Banks? That's what I thought. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, Nia Jax is a very divisive personality within the internet community. Some folks, they give her hell for everything based on her size, her, who she's related to or whatever. But it has happened and will continue to happen until the end of time. Wrestlers will not want to lose at a certain point. Every situation is kind of the same but different. Like, everybody's got their own reasons. Go ahead.
I think, I don't think it's exactly that, but it's something that is sort of hand in hand. It's like, wrestlers are okay with losing when it makes sense, right? Or it makes, in their mind, it makes sense. So, in that situation, that really didn't make sense to me as a fan watching. And it makes sense for her at the spot, seeing that, like, they've always had her just basically, like, outside of the main event, scene the last couple months. So it's like, why the hell would I lose somebody that, like, we just jettisoned from the main event scene? Like, are y'all going to start again? If that's the case, then why did y'all beat her 2 weeks after she won the title for, like, the third time?
And also,
the fourth time.
And also, if you're looking at Nia, like, her biggest value is being like the heel monster champion, and if she's not that, it's like how they used to say about Psycho Sid back in the day. If you're not in the main event, like, he's not really worth much to you if he's not a main eventer. So like, maybe Nia feels like, it's a case where maybe she doesn't feel like this, but it's a case where the perception is if Nia's not the world champion of the women, what do you do with her? You can't just like take her off TV forever, because obviously people will forget about her, and you can't just have her go over everybody, because then you're going to have the wrong person, quote unquote, cleaning out the division before they ever get to the belt, so they have no one to wrestle. So
I thought personally that what was going to happen was, in the time to build towards Asuka eventually challenging for the title, they were going to have Nia be basically like the Chief J Strongbow to Alexa's Bruno Sammartino, which is funny because they say the same thing about Randy Orton being like the safeguard before you eventually get to Cena in the main event. So I thought that's what was going to happen, and they were like, they're just they're all over the place because they like to put people up and down and up and down and up and down. But like with Nia, it wasn't so much up and down as much as it was stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. So for me, I understand it, and like, don't get me wrong, like criticisms of Nia, they're legitimate. Like, I've seen her almost kill like 2 different people, right? So,
yeah.
But I mean, she's more over than she's pretty much ever been. Like, over the summer, she got more over than she pretty much had ever been at any other point. So it's like, all right, if not now, then when?
Right. And she played the big face Joker of I'll call Rock and ask him what to do, and Rock gave her the advice, walk. And I imagine that that once they got back to Vince, like Nia holds a certain amount of leverage that I don't think many of the other women do. No. Rock, they don't want to screw Nia up and cost themselves that relationship with Rock. For however they want to be affiliated with them.
There's a reason why Paige is still employed.
Right.
And that has to do with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yep. So, I wonder how Triple H feels about all this. Like, I'm sick of this motherfucker. Like, back to our...
I'll say this, though. Look, see, at least we always talk about how Vince is a stubborn dude that can't read what's ahead of him, and is ultimately it's cost him a lot on the at points in his career, and it's also won him a lot at the same time because he's a riverboat gambler and he's an egomaniac. All right, well, at least that man know not to go to Ryder Tyrese.
Yes. Based on what
you
The Rock did to him.
Rock and win.
Yeah.
Like seriously. Besides like the military and the police force, like who else in America is going to beat The Rock?
I mean,
if it were to come down to a head-to-head between two institutions. Yes, I call The Rock institution. Yes, I did.
Like
yes,
as far as like cultural like influence and just like looking who wins, like who we start making the jokes about.
Like no, like something happens. Nobody's necessarily at fault one way or the other. Who are people going to put their capes on for? Besides, like most people, right? Most people. Like so, besides the police force and the military, who's beating The Rock?
Beyonce.
That's a little different. I think you're thinking of different amongst a certain demographic. I don't think you're thinking amongst like the three. What did he say? The 1.5 to 350.
Oh, okay. The 350, huh?
The 350 of all that. It all embodies Americana, if you will.
Maybe Taylor Swift. But I don't know. She might have like burnt her goodwill.
Yeah. Taylor catching L's this past year ever since
Obama.
That Kim Kardashian. What?
Obama. Although I don't think I don't know if those guys would ever be opposed to each other. Out in public,
Rich,
at least.
I like to tell you about this thing called the 2016 presidential election. Like, Obama is how do you say it? He's polarizing without ever really being polarizing. If you catch my drift.
I don't understand.
There's been a whirlwind of change over the last 8 years apparently. So,
speaking of that, I was on a Chad Matthews podcast this week, and
I didn't even realize I segued that for you, but yeah, it worked.
Yep, it worked. So I went ahead on there, and this originally started. Like if you guys didn't hear my appearance on there, I encourage you to go check it out. The doc says, shouts out to Chad for kind of bringing that out of me, because I was like, I have this crazy theory. I told him about it, and I told him one line what it was about, and I saved it pretty much live until whatever. So he was gracious enough to give me that space, in full trust to do so. So the story goes like this. Like, I was talking to James on the phone probably a couple of days before I wrote it out, and I think we were shooting shit about something. We were talking about maybe like Ta-Nehisi Coates' book. We were 8 Years in Power or something like that.
Yeah, you were asking me, or you were basically asking me what it was about, because I had bought the book the day it came out or whatever, and I told you I only read through. I basically explained to you there's basically a prologue. There's 8 essays that were already published on the Atlantic, and then he pretty much gives a breakdown about where he's at now, on his thoughts on what he wrote at the time, now in 2017. It's like chapter notes, and then he has the epilogue is that essay. Donald Trump is America's first white president. So then you asked me about the breakdown, because I told you I only read through. I had read like half of the essays, when they came out at the time. So you asked me like, okay, so what's a little different here than there? And I explained to you the thing that ties this all together is the title of the book and what he came across as far as the parallels between Black Reconstruction, post emancipation. And the backlash to Obama's presidency, which led to the election of Donald Trump. And I told you that in the gist of it, and you were kind of it was almost like over the phone hearing you be deflated and almost like deflated because you're like, oh my god, he's absolutely right. This is like terrible, but like now I know like this is like this dude cut through this bullshit. Dude cut through this bullshit, and like it's clear. You made it so clear. It's almost like discovering like a revelation, and like you just like something like cut you to the bone as far as like this is like cutting truth, and it's like depressing and it's sad, but like it's the truth, and you can't look away from it.
Right, and then when I was talking to you, it felt like when I started applying that to, I was like, man, that kind of feels like wrestling a little bit. It was like a light bulb went off over my head. Like, yes, and this is just how I think. Like, it's like, cause I have this like little term, like wrestling is life, like, because it's a reflection of life, like in certain situations at least. And then like, I pretty much took it like the years that the fans kind of were in power were the rise of, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. And then after that, like everything has been an attempt to live in a post CM Punk and Daniel Bryan world, where they give the opportunity to AJ Styles and Seth Rollins and all these guys, but they're not really the dudes that like Punk and Bryan were. No matter how good they are, like they're just as good as them, or even better. Like I think AJ Styles is better than CM Punk, but like there was a clear old guard, and then it was replaced by that whole thing, and then after that it's like, yeah, we're in that post world now. We're in this separate but equal phase of WWE, like where they can have the NXTs, they can have the untraditional looking stars, the organic guys that people really want to get behind, and they put them at a certain level, but they're never going
slotted.
Yeah, they're slotted. Like we're never going to get this generational, like all the new guys that come along, they're always going to have a lid on them, essentially, like just like African Americans in America for however X amount of years have gone past.
Yeah, like I don't know if you thought about this the way I did, but when I was explaining to you about how in the book how Coates is reading W.E.B. Du Bois' analysis on the governor, or sorry, the congressman in South Carolina basically come to the altar when they were about to like start Jim Crow, and he's saying, "Look, man, like you gave us, less than 20 years, and we built a governmental infrastructure, and we built bridges and all this other stuff and all this good work that we've done in a short amount of time. Why would you kill this?" And Du Bois, ultimate critique is the only thing that white supremacy fears more than a bad black government is a good black government. And like for me, now that you brought up the wrestling thing, and at the time, like I never really fully entertained this, but now that I'm thinking about it, like one of the parallels is, all right, Vince lets the quote unquote let people, the people that he doesn't handpick and choose, that aren't the traditional guys that have, that fit all these markers for what he wants out of a guy. If those guys actually do break through, then where does that leave him in the future of his company, as far as him being the person that makes all these unilateral decisions and can always tell people to go to hell, kiss his ass? Is that the what's the phrase? Is that the hill you want to die on?
Yeah.
And gives all these guys and keep these guys in a constant like threat. Like if things did change, then what happens to his strong grip on professional wrestling and his company in the going future? Like, I mean, this is a company, he has a controlling interest in it, but like, it ain't that hard to foresee what could happen if things in the office changed, right? Like if just like the power structure changes even a little bit. So you see what happens forward, where like, all right, well, let's push a dude that's never even had a singles. Let's push a dude and fast track him that's never even like been a singles wrestler on the main card. Let's fast track that dude to win the title without ever winning any underneath belts as a singles wrestler. Like, let's do all these weird things with Finn Balor and AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. Like, we'll have these guys around, and Seth Rollins is he can be our quote unquote alt guy or whatever else, especially back when he had the half two-face hair or whatever. But ultimately, like, we're only gonna let those guys get to a certain level. We're not gonna make them super duper stars. We're not on any illusion. Like, in fact, like, to me personally, like, in my mind, the way they've done this, like, they don't really, like, they want, Reigns to be the face of the company. But, like, he'll never be, like, the guy, like how, for example, a Triple H or a Cena or a Rock or Austin ever were, as far as, like, their number one guy. They can more or less call their shots and kill shit dead because they have some creative control. And what you gonna do? Tell them no and then have them walk, and then you're stuck with a shit pay-per-view.
Because they
like,
never,
they don't really.
Reigns never built himself.
Yeah, like, I don't think they ever want a guy to ever get that big again, and that's the problem. Like, they have made it to where, like, they are an NFL team without a star quarterback. They're like, we got guys that are stars, but, like, nobody's ever bigger than the team. You can hold out and all the other stuff if you want to. And there may be some legitimacy to the reason why you're holding out. Feel like you need more cash or need this, that, and the third. But, like, people are here to see the circus in town. They're not here to see necessarily you. And we're going to make damn sure that, like, we're not make damn sure, but, like, we're going to do the 50-50 booking to make sure that nobody ever becomes that big and leaves us for Hollywood.
They're going to protect the shield, like another NFL phrase, and also
That's a good point. Yeah,
and also going back to what you were saying, like when you were saying, we done all these good things, like, why would you take this away from us? Like Daniel Bryan saved WrestleMania 30, Vince. Like, and I know Daniel Bryan's body broke down on him or whatever, but there were guys set in place to take over that, that energy, that movement, just how, like, Daniel Bryan pretty much absorbed, CM Punk, and, like, the Daniel Bryan following, the CM Punk following became one. Like, it was unified. It was ready, like, for him to be the leader. And then, unfortunately, he broke down. But there were so many guys set up in the pipeline, it feels like, and still there now, that never quite got to do that thing because WWE decided that even though, like you said, like, it was, bad Negro leadership is good Negro leadership. It's like, wow, if he's right, does that mean I was wrong all throughout history? Like, also, and, like, and the thing is with it is these guys now, like, they get stuck being second tier players. Like, they could have the next Daniel Bryan and Johnny Gargano, but I don't know if we'll ever find that out. Like, and if that doesn't, like, make you, like, think about it a weird way, like we just had Kane going over, a young star on Monday night, like, for what? Like, and then also, like, there are unicorns like Braun Strowman, of course, that don't, like, fit this thing, but I felt like it was a situation where he was organic and the people wanted him, but because the people wanted him, Vince didn't get it. He was like, no, not yet. That's always going to be there, but you can't take that stuff for granted because that can leave. Like, because at one point they wanted Roman Reigns, but then at another point it's like, he became the system, essentially. And it's unfortunate for Reigns because he didn't do anything but show up and get handed bad material. And, he did some of it himself also, but he caught way...
Yeah, he wasn't even, the other thing about that is, like, when I said about like, how they fast-tracked it, he wasn't ready for that. Like, if we had, like, and granted, I don't necessarily mean right now, like, if they had waited, like, literally a year, gave him a year, he would have been in a better spot to actually, like, go out there and sink and swim as far as the promos. Like, they were just like, we have a guy that looks the part, So we basically taking the number 1 overall pick. We're going to go out. We're going to run up to the podium to go draft a Jake Locker, a Mike Glennon type.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
God.
Like, and I don't mean that as no disrespect to Roman. Roman's a far superior wrestler compared to those guys, those bums, work as quarterbacks. I'm just saying, like, this was the trappings of you guys bet on their own dog, and y'all guys knew what the issues were. Y'all just so desperate to find another quote unquote quarterback.
Yeah.
To succeed Cena.
Yeah. And the whole deal with that indie scene, like, that never quite went away. It's still the great indie scene as it's always been. They're always going to be producing, like, new exciting guys, and that's what the fans are kind of like, that ceiling, or excuse me, that floor of the indies, like, is rising now. Like, you can see it more than ever. There's merch available. Like, you walk into a store, you walk into a Hot Topic anywhere in America, you can find a Bullet Club shirt. You can, you see the ground rising, like, and these guys are going to be doing the things that are going to be influencing the next generations of stars, just like, you know, the folks, the black rock musicians in the 50s that pretty much got their sound, like, pretty much adopted through influence and, you know, some appropriation a little bit. In the, you know,
what do you mean some?
You know,
have you ever heard of the Led Zeppelin record?
Yeah. So like you hear, like, the next generation, like, and they take their music and blow it up. So, like, it's gonna be like the next generation that takes what all the guys are doing outside of WWE now, and pretty much will get the credit for it if they come along into WWE with that. But it's like these guys now, like the Young Bucks, are like, these guys are Robin Hood out here. Like, like, these guys are the dudes. Like, I don't know if they'll ever get their credit, but I'm glad they're getting the money right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when I think about that, I'm thinking to myself, like, when you say, like, the next generation, like, by next generation, you mean NXT right now? Because, like, you know, they sort of have WWE. Like, the weird thing about NXT is almost like when the NBA put in the 1 year of college rule, where it's almost like, well, you know, people have all these worries about, like, these quote unquote indie guys, like, they have worries about these high school guys for, you know, minus the, you know, all the problematic issues of the problematic issues that lie with you being worried about 18-year-old black kids getting a bunch of money. But aside from that point, you have them going to the indies, and they get these guys, and they basically put them on a stage to where they can get, where people that are into the NBA will be able to see these, NBA/WWE, if you will, be able to see these guys on a fairly regular basis on the network, and they get to become they get to actually brand themselves as stars ahead of time, and then, you know, the diehards are in on them and have seen them, so that there's already hype, so people already know who they are while coming into the league, as opposed to, you know, like, who the hell is this Kobe Bryant kid? Who the hell is this T-Mac kid? Who's this kid from South Carolina by way of Chicago named Kevin Garnett? So, like, that's sort of how they've done this, by getting these indie guys to come in and spend a year and a half, and in the case of Finn Balor, how long was Finn Balor there? Forever?
He was like 2.5 years, it felt like.
Yeah, Finn Balor felt like the Tyler Hansbrough, Tim Tebow of NXT.
Jesus.
So that when guys, you know, so the guys get there, there's already a buzz for the Oscars, same thing, and, you know, the horsewomen as well, and hopefully, you know, people know who they are because the hardcores know who they are, and they hope that, you know, these guys can get over from there. The issue is once they get the issue is, like, you know, somehow for some reason, you know, as opposed to the exact opposite, which is true for the NFL and especially the NBA, is like, why is the college game better than the pro game?
Or the college game is not preparing you for the pro game. In this case, in WWE and NXT, like Like, I don't think Nakamura got helped by going to NXT. Like he was the same guy he would have always been. Like, the only thing he got out of NXT was a classic match with Sami Zayn, and he got the NXT title.
Oh, a classic match. A classic match. Easy for me to say, and an all-time great entrance.
Yeah. All-time great entrance. Those are the things he got from NXT. Bobby Roode, he got some matches with Nakamura, and he got the entrance music. It's like these guys are, we're kind of going in circles now, but it's like, if you want to hear the full verbatim rant, like, go check out Chad's show, because it's and remove yourself from it's the macro, not the micro. Obviously, no one's dying or anything like that. When you pull out the words.
The best way to explain it to people is it's a thought experiment. It's not about that. It's an analogy that's based on the abstract. It's not an analogy based off like millions of lies, like being destroyed based off of social engineering.
Yeah, but
we're ultimately talking about body slams and drop kicks.
Yeah, and fake fights. Yeah. But I think that's a kind of a good place to leave it. James, you got anything you want to add before we get up out of here?
Nah, not too much. Nah, nothing really. I guess I'm headed over to your spot tomorrow for Stranger Things season 2 marathon. So I guess that'll be fun. But I'll tell you what, I'm sure we'll have stories for the listeners next week for that, or even Sunday.
For sure, man. I just want to say the Los Angeles Lakers are 2-2. The Lonzo Ball is not losing twice in a week out here. I was waiting for the torture. It didn't come. And I'm proud of my team right now. So I'm real happy. About the NBA right now. It feels like I have a dog in the fight. And I've been seeing a lot of good performances and games going down to the wire, and dudes having to step up early in the season. Like Eric Gordon, went ahead and put the Sixers away, with a game winner. The Lakers and the what's their names? The Wizards. They had a overtime game that went down to the wire. LeBron and what was against the Nets. The Warriors and the Rockets, a lot of close, a lot of competitive games. It's a lot of things going on right now where it's I don't know if everyone's legs are all the way under them. The news schedule has played a little bit of a part, and dudes not being ready, but I'm liking where the league's going this year. So I'll be watching plenty, and if you guys want to, we'll probably do some NBA talk Sunday. A little bit more expanded on there. We'll have a little bit more to work with, but who's impressed you thus far the most, James?
As a team or individual player?
Both.
Well, you got to say Giannis because, he showed up ready to go. So far, he's had three monster games already. Where most teams are already right now. I'm watching. I'm watching Bucks versus Celtics right now. The game's coming to an end, and he's already had another on-par performance for MVP caliber stat line. So this is now only one game he hasn't done this. So it's crazy that he's about to turn 23 and he's already doing this. It's just really interesting. It's gonna be fun to see where this goes over the next 10 years with him.
Yeah, man. So
now as far as the team, I guess you got to say the Clippers, right?
Have they lost yet?
No, there's no undefeated teams in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Last one was actually the Warriors,
Wizards.
Or not the Warriors, the Wizards.
Yeah.
But it's for those that never really watch or whatever else, and maybe it's just me or whatever, but peak Blake Griffin is one of the most fun guys to watch in the entire league because the dude plays so hard, the dude has such a great handle for his position, such great touch and passing ability, and now you see that jumper,
He's shooting like 44% or some shit, right?
Something like that, yeah. Like, the thing is, when you give Blake Griffin, when like, that's the thing with that 2014 year was like, for those that didn't watch, like, that dude was incredible. He was so fun to watch because it was almost like watching Sean Kemp and like Karl Malone merge together as a one player, but with a handle. It was like, oh, this dude can shoot out to 20 feet. Oh, this dude will will dunk on you and send you, traveling across the space-time continuum. Like, it's really fun to watch that dude, and like, and it's been, and I'm glad that we have that back because I didn't know if we were ever going to see that again.
All you had to do was get rid of Chris Paul, and he started taking off.
No,
Ewing theory.
The issue with him was, can that dude stay healthy? I mean, we talked about on the playoff preview was like, I don't know if they're making the playoffs because like I'm expecting Blake Griffin to miss 20 to 30 games because that's what he does every single year. So. Like at least we're getting that good Blake Griffin before he eventually inevitably gets hurt again.
Yeah, man. But we'll get to more NBA talk next week. Try to sprinkle a little bit of that in there. Go Lakers, big baller brand, triple B's. Listen to that Super Saiyan, Lonzo. But yeah, we up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all listening. Peace.
Later, Kyrie. The floor is not 40 years old.
Between me and you, I think that boy kind of slow.